allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes. I move that we approve the minutes.
A second.
And that's for both sets of minutes here. Any comments?
Monica?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Janice?
Yes. Okay. So we're going to move public participation on non-agenda items to the end of the meeting, so we stay efficient. Okay. Before we go to reports, I'm going to read a statement from legal. Recently, the board has been criticized for not getting involved in the day-to-day operations of the school district, and it is important for the community to understand what we can and cannot do. First, individual trustees have zero authority, so when you come to one of us and demand that we do something, please know that we cannot do it or do what you're asking us to do. Second, the board as a whole does not get involved in the day-to-day operations as a rule. This is based on our policy and law in the state of Montana. If you are unhappy with the decision of a teacher, an administrator, or a supervisor in the school, you have to follow our policy 1700. That policy explains how you can file a complaint and the process we follow to address those complaints. The board is committed to addressing any concerns that are brought to it, provided those concerns are raised under policy 1700. The policy protects the rights of all involved, and we will follow it. This may not have always been done, but this board is going to do that. Okay, so moving on. Report, superintendent.
Okay, good evening. I'm going to start with a topic that has been very, very important to everyone, the community members, the school, parents, students, and staff. It's important to note that during this period, this is about Skills USA, we have been actively seeking to secure an advisor for our Skills USA program. The previous advisor had requested a substantial increase for their involvement in the program. One of the first obstacles to this request was that as an extracurricular activity, this should have been brought, or we could have brought it to the table during contract negotiations in the spring when all the status of all extracurricular activities could have been reviewed and discussed. We would not negotiate outside of the contract. It's important to note that there has never been a discussion of ending the Skills USA Club. The value of such a program has been and will remain very real for Plains School community. When a request was first brought to us, a long, hard look was given to the advisor's request. There were multiple discussions with administration, with a number of options discussed. When a counter offer was made, it was not accepted. Administration went back to the drawing board and sought a possible solution. Finding a grant that could subsidize the cost of the club with no additional cost to the district, another offer was made to the advisor. The offer was as follows. The previous stipend was paid out of the general fund. It was not paid out of a grant. The district will pay the Skills USA advisor the following: $3,500 to be paid from the Advanced Opportunity Grant. Initially, the stipend was $1,701 or $1,708. $100 per diem stipend for overnight trips. The Skills USA advisor's requirements were provide guidance for junior high as well as high school students. Junior high students will be able to compete at the state level but would not go this year to nationals. Utilize volunteers from the community to assist with the program as needed. Organize and execute fundraising to cover the costs associated with the program. Ensure that students and parents sign a contract stating that they will be responsible for repaying costs covered by the grant if the student did not complete or did not go to finish the program. Additionally, the advisor will serve as a guide, facilitator, and advisor to students, empowering them to take the lead of their Skills USA chapter. Provide intentional instruction about the Skills USA framework and essential elements, allowing students to define, develop, and demonstrate the skills identified. Connect businesses and industry to classroom learning, bringing relevancy to technical education and Skills USA framework instruction. Prepared students to demonstrate their skills through local championships that are assessed by business and industry. Believe that all students have value and purpose, and that Skills USA offers the ability for students to discuss and follow their career passion. When the initial $3,500, this was the last offer made, and the $100 per diem stipend for overnight trips, this offer was refused. Moving forward, I've spoken to the state representative on multiple occasions and sought her guidance. She was under the impression we were doing away with Skills USA. I made it perfectly clear that the information was not correct. Based on one of our calls, Roberta Tillman, the state supervisor, suggested that we expand our membership to be a school-wide effort so more students would have the opportunity to participate. We will be joining as a school-wide program moving forward. I asked what the average rate for Skills USA advisor was, and she responded that she was just gathering that information for herself, and it appeared that a large number of chapters did it for free, and the larger schools were about $6,000. I shared with her what we were offering that we could offer through the grant help, and she said that would be more than generous. Moving forward, we have posted the position. Dr. Fettinger and myself are listed as contacts, and we are seeking to join school-wide. Roberta Tillman has suggested that we join the state officer telegram group in order to be aware of the messaging that comes through the program, and she's working on getting everything taken care of over the next few days. In speaking with Roberta, I will be working with our state officer, Eileen Corbin, and assisting her in the activities and work she needs to get done for her position, until which time we have a new advisor. It is possible to work with junior high and high school students separately and then sometimes even at the same time. They do not have to be in the same place at the same time. One night may be designated for computer skills, another for shop, and another meeting time for leadership, public speaking, etc. Roberta Tillman, the state representative, will work closely with us to sustain the program. She has suggested to allow the new person to learn the new system, become familiar with the technical standards, and have the students enter some contests. I'm planning to have her visit here in early December to speak with students who are interested in the program, and as well as staff who might have some questions. During this long process, it's important that you know there was never a desire to eliminate the Skills USA program. Much time was devoted to finding an appropriate resolution. More time was spent on consideration and the offerings and responsiveness. Presently, the position is posted. I'm encouraged by the great interest both school members and community members have in this wonderful program, and hopeful that interested parties will apply for it, and it can be up and running as soon as we can get it there. Hopefully this week I will be speaking with 2 interested parties who have shared with me that they are interested in pursuing this position. If you know of anyone who may be interested in the position, please ask them to feel free to contact either Dr. Fettinger or myself. Moving on to just another topic on this report, we had a wonderful trunk or treat. This year was a little bit different. We had about 20 trunks, and the majority of the cars were all folks in the from the community. That does not negate all the work that the store owners, the business owners on Main Street did. They did that as well. This was just something to highlight the trunk or treat hour and a half that we had. Mr. Meredith put it together. He did a great job with getting the kids out there on time and enjoying themselves. Our very own school board provided a farm setting that was very authentic. We had farm animals and even a farmer. The students were happy that day. I think it was a great opportunity for the community to see their children at our best. We had our second Share the Warmth Day, where we were able to distribute 15 more new coats to people in the community. There were also about 2 dozen hats, gloves, and scarves provided to those who wanted them. In total, we have been able to distribute about 50 new coats to people within the community. A special thank you to the members of the community that assisted me with the coat program. It was a wonderful 2 Saturdays that we were able to share the warmth with our neighbors. We're going on making coats available hopefully at the Christmas festival. We still have to figure out the logistics of that. Veterans Day was a wonderful celebration of our veterans and all who served our country. Beautiful artwork created by our elementary students and organized by our teachers lined the lobby, paying tribute to all who served. Our guests were entertained by our chorus and junior and high school bands under the direction of Mrs. Lovell. Mrs. Germain and her students prepared and served a wonderful luncheon, and Dr. Fettinger emceed the event. I'm sure Dr. Fettinger will have more to talk about when she gives her report. Our holiday bazaar will be on December 13th, Applications may be emailed or picked up directly from the main office. Catherine is ready and willing to help. I received a resignation from Max Bett, resigning his position as junior high football coach. We want to thank Mr. Bevitt this time for the time and energy he devoted to his students, and his presence in that capacity will be missed. Thanks to the generosity of the Plains Police Department, we now have the presence of Officer Geenan in our schools on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 1 o'clock until dismissal. This has not been motivated by any threats or dangerous actions, but rather it has been a goal of Chief Josephson in mind to have the presence of an officer so students would have access to speak with him in a comfortable environment if they need to. This comes as no cost to our district. Both the police department and the district will seek grants in the future to fund this position permanently. That's what I
Thank you. Good. Kevin?
Okay. So we ended quarter one, October 24th, and we had, let's see, parent-teacher conferences the following week or 2 weeks later. Out of about 220 students, we only had 15 that were, I guess you would just call them no-shows, for various reasons. So participation was very high in the elementary, which is always great to see, and that's about normal for what we see. Usually out of those 15, about half of those are just circumstances that were beyond the control of the families. So we're glad to have so much participation from our parents in parent-teacher conferences. With parent-teacher conferences, the PTA, Parent-Teacher Association, provided meals on Tuesday and Thursday of the parent-teacher conferences for the teachers, and that is so appreciated by all of us. That's a pretty wild, not wild, but it's a pretty quick day. The day ends at 4, parent-teacher conferences start at 5, and so there's just that one quick hour, and for a nice meal, and they were excellent meals also to be prepared. It's appreciated, and we're thankful for the help the PTA provides. So thank you to the PTA. Along the same lines, at the end of the quarter, we had 85 students in grades 3 through 6 make the honor roll. So that's pretty cool. 15 students were 4.0 this quarter, and they will be in the December newsletter. I always try to make sure to get them in the newsletter so that hopefully that newsletter gets hung on the refrigerator and circle their name and look at it until the end of the next quarter. So, speaking of the newsletter, just a couple things from the November newsletter. Had some classroom happenings, a couple of announcements about like the end of the school day. One of the things that we start to see about this time of year, I think we just kind of start to get into our own rhythms. But at the end of the day, the main office here, we'll just call it Catherine's office. Catherine's office gets pretty busy at the end of the day. And so we just ask that parents, if they have changes to their child's bus rep plans or end of the day plans, we just ask if that phone call comes before 3 o'clock. Because after 3 o'clock, it is a busy place. And it's very hard for us to make sure to get all of the requests correct if it comes after 3 o'clock. So we just ask that it comes before that. And it gives us time to get the message to the teachers, who then get it to the students. Also, if you didn't get a chance in the November newsletter, there's a little link in there. If you click on it in the classroom happenings for how lungs work, if you didn't click on that and check it out, you should, because it's pretty cool. Every year the 6th graders do a dissection of a pig dissection basically, and they check out the lungs, and they're using big syringes to pump the lungs up. And we've got a little video on there of some students showing and kind of explaining how that works. So check that out if you get a chance. It's always fun to see that, because that is definitely learning in action. And it was on Halloween, so appropriate. A couple of things coming up for the elementary. This time of year, some of our classes and students get into the giving spirit. And our 6th grade class, this will be I think our 3rd year, maybe 4th year, they do a fundraiser about 5 days between now and Christmas break, where students can wear a hat one day, or they can bring a stuffy of their little stuffed animal if they want, and they can pay $1 to do that in the class. And all of the 6th grade classes go around to all of the kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, all the way up, collect the money, and then at the end of that fundraising drive, they use that to purchase gifts from the Sanders County Tree of Hearts, and then they donate those gifts to the Tree of Hearts. It's really cool to see our 6th graders in the classroom. They're wrapping the gifts and everything every year, and they try to buy local so that all of those funds that are raised actually stay local. So Ms. Feist and Mr. Askell head that up every year, and they're planning on it again this year. Also, along with that, this Friday, we had some 5th graders. This is a completely student-led fundraiser. This is pretty cool. I had a 5th grader approach me about 2-3 weeks ago and said, Mr. Meredith, I want to do a fundraiser. I said, what do you want to do? He said, I want to do a fundraiser for something. Okay, well, let's talk about what you want to do. He had this idea of shooting baskets in the gym where you had to pay $1 to shoot a free throw, and $3 to shoot a three-pointer, and $5 to shoot a half-quarter. He had it pretty well put together. I said, well, what do you want to donate funds to? He hadn't really given that much thought, but in the end, he said, I think I would want to donate it to supporting cancer research. So we got online, we looked up the Jimmy V Foundation for Cancer Research, which Jimmy V is an old college basketball coach from the 80s. And so they're putting together a fundraiser this Friday for all of the elementary students during their last recess to come into the gym. They can shoot their free throw, their three-pointer, or their half-quarter if they would like. If they make it, they get a prize. And the 5th graders, these 5th graders have collected prizes and gone around to various places asking for some donations for prizes. And so they'll have that event this Friday. So if you get a chance and you want to come see a pretty cool fundraiser that truly was started from the students to the end of it, come to the new gym at about 2:30 on Friday, and they'll be doing that. So really a really cool thing. Along the same spirit, this time of year, I want to say thanks to a number of our community members and organizations for their support. This time of year, we get donations for family meals. We get donations for gloves, hats, coats, boots, snow pants. Snow pants is always a big one. And just always have a lot of support this time of year. And the school is always so thankful for that. And a lot of people do that in a way that they do not want to be mentioned. So they do remain anonymous, but it is important to know that we are so thankful for all of that support. And last but not least, this year we will not be having an actual scheduled Christmas elementary concert. However, every classroom and grade level is scheduling a performance with their grades and their classes to invite the families of those classes in to take in the performance. They will be done during the school day, so our intent is to video those and be able to post those for the families and for the parents that are not able to attend. So that's going to be something different this year, and it probably won't all just be music. Some of it will be maybe some poetry, maybe some, if you know what Reader's Theater is, kind of like a play. So some of that, but it will be some sort of a performance. So thanks to all the teachers for being sports and being willing to put that together. That will take a little bit more work, but in the end, I think it'll be really, really fun, and it's always fun to do something new. So, and that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith. Dr. Fittinger.
All right, so along with the giving part that Mr. Meredith mentioned, the National Honor Society is doing a food drive, and all the students bring their canned foods into the classrooms, and the class with the most donated items wins a prize. So appreciate the effort from the National Honor Society. Our Shakespeare in the Park production of Richard III went well. It was on Friday, and Shakespeare is kind of difficult for a lot of kids to understand. It's difficult for me to understand, and I teach Shakespeare, but it's fun. And we had 2 full workshops afterwards, one with the juniors and one with the seniors. So the comments that I heard, the kids seemed to really enjoy it. On December 4th, the art class is going out into the community to paint windows. This is a tradition that Mrs. Cole has been doing for a long time. So look for those painted windows. On December 6th is the high school basketball tip-off tournament. On that same weekend, the 6th and the 7th, the high school drama club is putting on their production of apiary, and an apiary is about bees. So I've heard some interesting comments from the kids about the play, so I'm looking forward to watching it myself. They've been practicing almost every single day, so it should be a good show. On December 18th, like Mr. Meredith said, the high school isn't having a traditional Christmas concert, but on December 18th, the choir will be singing in the park like they did last year. And then on January 14th, at the end of the semester, the bands will be putting on a production, and it's gonna be based on Disney movies and themes and songs. So they're pretty excited about it. I talked to a lot of the kids, and they are happy that they're not doing, the traditional Christmas songs. They're looking forward to doing something a little bit different. So, and that'll be on January 14th. Christmas break is the 22nd through January 5th. So November goes quick, December goes even quicker. But, for our junior high and high school honor roll, we had 32 junior high school students meet the honor roll, with 6 of them a 4.0. And in the high school, we had 65 students with 23 4.0 students. So it's pretty impressive. They're really working hard. So I just want to thank all the teachers for putting in their time and helping our kids be successful. So that's all.
Can you tell me again when the drama, I didn't get the drama date.
The weekend of the 6th and 7th. Yeah.
Fall sports are officially wrapped up. Tonight we're gonna recognize 2 all-state cross-country runners. Some of the other seasons went a little bit longer, but at the next meeting, we'll have 2 soccer players and 3 volleyball players to recognize for all-conference performances as well. And then we had 26 fall sports student athletes earn academic all-state, which means they earned a varsity letter and had a 3.5 or better GPA for the first quarter. So almost 60% of the students that were eligible got that award. And then at the end of next week, basketball and wrestling are gonna start, so we're excited for winter sports seasons.
Alright, Larry Joe, and I know, I didn't ask, do you wanna use the microphone so you project better?
No, thank you.
People can't hear you most of the time.
That's all right.
Okay. If people can't hear, let me know and I'll have her go up to the microphone, okay?
I can't hear.
Sit back, she's gonna try and project.
So this month was a really good month for the food service program. We were in a positive almost $5,000, so that was exciting. Just a couple, we completed our freezer clean and that money has been returned to us, and that was a little over $5,000, so that helps too. Just some couple interesting facts real quick. In October, Breakfast in the Classroom generated over $11,000 in revenue. Compared to last October's was just short of $4,000 in revenue. So without Breakfast in the Classroom, the program would be approximately 11,000 or more in the hole. So teamwork and making Breakfast in the Classroom go and make it successful is to everybody's benefit, I believe. And this month we got to utilize almost $1,000 in the Department of Defense fresh fruits and vegetables, which that helps too. And then the USDA, commodities, I went in and got 60 extra cases, which Russell had to help me with. Which will be another $3,000 over time that will help us. So I project next month will be about the same, between $4,000 and $5,000 in the positive. And right now with our freezer claim, we're about $7,500 in the positive, so that's very exciting.
It's quite different than what we were experiencing last year. Thank you for all your hard work, Larry Jim.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, financial reports, approval of bills and warrants. Would entertain a motion?
I have a question.
Let's do a motion first and then we'll definitely get into questions.
Okay, I move that we approve the bills and warrants.
I'll second. Okay, and you had a question?
Yeah, it's about the 11,195 to you, Glenn. Is that for a couple months? Is that charges for a couple months?
I think that was, yeah. I think that was the end of the time where we didn't have a clerk yet, and then Maren started October 1st, so that was the time we were doing all the year-end reports, and I was actually doing the bulk of the work, yeah. So it is just for 1 month. Yep.
And that includes your, getting Maren up to speed and training her to go forward?
Maren didn't come on till October 1st, and I don't think we billed you for any of the time that I worked with Maren, so.
So will we be seeing a reduction in these charges going forward? But maybe not quite to zero because you might have to spend some time training.
Yeah.
Is that what we would anticipate going forward?
Absolutely, I think it would be a travesty to just tear her loose,
Right.
so,
Right.
yeah.
She's gonna
You
need
can't
some
do
more
that,
support.
or you can start over with another new clerk, I think.
Do you know how much time do you think that you will need to give to that exercise?
Well, I think you probably haven't seen the last of me for several months, it will be less and less time. But until Maren has been through an entire year's cycle, she won't even have touched on everything that you do in a school district. For example, in the spring, we'll be doing your year-end reports and budgeting, all of which Maren has never done. So I think, you should commit to a good year's worth of training so that she's touched on everything before you expect her to go to one.
Thanks, that's it.
Any other comments, questions? Yep, you got something about the bills and warrants?
I was just following up, so there's no budgeted amount for what this consulting is going to cost us over the course of a year?
Well, we couldn't get into that now anyways because we're on bills and warrants, but that'll
Well,
be
I'm
something
just-
we are going to address.
So up to this
Estimate.
point, do we know how much, and then if we figure another 6 months, is it equal to that first 6 months, or is it less than
I
that?
wouldn't be able to answer that now anyway.
And does those funds come out of the general fund?
My understanding is probably what we can get into that right now anyway.
Oh.
Cause right now we're just on this.
Right,
bills
and so
warrants,
I'm
yeah,
just asking with bills and warrants, and, if it hasn't been budgeted for, then where is it coming from?
And I'm sure there'll be something on an agenda at some point that we can dig into.
Okay.
I just don't think we can right now.
Okay, I was just.
But no, yeah, it's a good
Curious.
question, and I do think it's something. Do you know when we're doing the transition?
We started to work on it now.
Yeah, there will be a transition plan that's going to be brought
Cost factors.
to an agenda so we can actually talk about it. So it is something that is being addressed, absolutely. But any other comments on bills and warrants here? Okay, then we're ready to vote on that.
Colleen? Yes. Monica?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Okay, and we have the monthly budget report through October.
And so I lost my electricity, I think everything up here lost its electricity.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm literally flying blind here.
Wait, does Mr. Meredith no electricity?
I don't know, well, take a look at it.
He better not lose it, that'd be a reason. He needs it too.
Yeah, thank you. Got some numbers, that's good. Okay, so, the monthly budget report is in your packets. And of course, we're representing all of the budgeted funds as well as the cash funds and the budget that was set in the fall and the year-to-date expenditures through October. And so then to the far right are the percentages that kind of give you a quick overview of how are we doing as far as our budgeted process. So we have 67% of the year remaining, and as you look down that schedule, from the general fund, we have 78% of the money remaining, so we're 10% ahead of the curve, and that's where we wanna be. And the idea of this report is just to, every month, just revisit where we're at, so that if we sort of start to divert off the track, we can redirect. And so, but as you go down, 96% of the money remaining, 82%, 99%. So all of the funds are really performing quite well. The one fund that we're a little bit low by 1% is the adult ed fund. And what is in that fund is the Advanced Opportunities Grant. And interestingly enough, the legislature set that up on a calendar year, and everything else is on a school year, right? So, or school calendar. So that's a little bit misrepresented in this. And that's a grant, and once the funds are expended, there's really no requirement to spread that evenly over the year. It actually should be expended by December. So hopefully we'll have some expenditures hitting that, and anything you have remaining, you would carry over to the next calendar year. So I think we're right on track, where we wanna be, and you'll just continue to see this. It's kind of a way for Marin to take a breath and look big picture, okay, how are we doing, right? Cause otherwise you're just paying the bills and making the payroll, and all this is happening, and you don't really pull it all together and evaluate where you're at. So, thank you for sharing. Yeah. So I think you're in a good place.
So you can show that for all the world, but if anyone needs to see it, we have them in our packets, we can share them at the end of the meeting. Okay. Thank you. Okay. New business, board recognition. Okay, so cross-country. So we had a couple of cross-country boys who took first place and third place at state, but they also, both boys just ran at the Nike Cross Regionals over this weekend, and each of them significantly lowered their personal best from their state performances. So we wanna make sure we really congratulate these kids for what they're doing. So first we're gonna call up Owen Germain. He is our actual state champion. And our next one is Cord Greer, who took third place at state. Probably want a picture together, you too. Good pictures. So now we have a presentation for the National Honor Society field trip proposal. Love to see all the kids. I'm like, please let me see the copies.
I was looking great before.
Right? Miss Randy.
My coffee.
Thanks.
Yeah, you guys can stand back there if you want, or wherever you're comfortable.
Turn the lights on.
They're gonna talk at our heads.
Alright, you guys let me know when you're ready to start.
Hi, I'm Randy. I am the National Honor Society President, and this is our presentation for our trip proposal.
Location and why we want to go. We would like to go to Phoenix, Arizona to experience a new state, culture, and climate that we're not as familiar with, the sun. We want to explore the Grand Canyon and history it has to offer. There's also a lot of fun activities, which kind of goes with the memorable opportunity. We live live in Plains and there's not much to do, so it'd be kind of cool to like see what it's like in the big world. And we would like to think of it kind of as a reward for being top of our classes and just giving our all to our school and our community.
How are we gonna fundraise money? Right now we have about $6,000 in our account. We have a goal of $11,000. We had a bake sale volleyball season and raised about $700. We have plans to have 50-50 raffle tickets throughout basketball games. We could do a family movie night in the gym, which there would just be a small entrance fee, and it could just be something that would be just like fun for families to come enjoy, and we could try to put on like just a little concession stand or something for them to get snacks. The Winter Bazaar, it's something that we do every year, and MHS always has a bake sale table, so that's always just a good fundraiser. And we can also put in for some grants. There's a Western National Park grant, which the Grand Canyon does apply to, and there's also just National Honor Society grants that we can also apply for.
Transportation costs. We are planning to use A1 rental transportation. We, to rent a 15-passenger van is about $900. We currently have 13 people going on our trip, including chaperones, and we estimated about $1,300 for gas money.
So, airfare costs. We're planning to fly on Allegiant Airlines out of Missoula on April 19th. The departure is 11:48 a.m. and our return date would be the 24th of April. And we would return to the Kalispell Airport in order to get the best prices on tickets and a good time for the trip. So we would leave Arizona at 9 a.m. So the cost is approximately $180 per person round trip. So about $2,400 total. And Linda Marvin is a group booking agent that Jeff Burrows has used before for the church Phoenix trips. I'm going to email her in hopes to get us all on the same plane and maybe some deals too on ticket prices.
Alright, our next slide is chaperones. So we decided that we would like to have 4 chaperones attend with us. I mean, the more the merrier. I think everyone's familiar with Miss Nicole Burrows. She's a staff member here at Plains High School, and she's very familiar with all of us kids. And she's experienced some large out-of-state trips. Her husband, Jeff Burrows, he's also very experienced in large group out-of-state trips, and he's very familiar with all of us kids. And 3rd and 4th, we would like to have Mr. Tatum and Miss Shauna Tatum, just because they're in the school, so they're fun, and it'd just be fun to have more people. Shauna Tatum is a registered nurse, so in case there's any emergencies, she's there to help us out. And yeah.
So for housing, we were looking for a place with about 5 to 6 rooms, something with fun activities and amenities. We have $3,500 for our budget right now for housing. One option we found was through Airbnb called the Desert Diamond. It was $2,000 for 5 nights and 5 stars. I'd also like to mention that if needed, we're looking for options through Verbo with these same requirements.
Grocery costs. We are planning on making 2 meals at the house that we are staying at and leaving 1 for when we're out traveling. But to save money, we are only doing 1 of the meals, not any more. We'll go to local grocery stores, for example, Winco or other ones. Eating out will be about $25 per person. So for grocery shopping and meals for when we go out, it'll be about $1,800.
Activity costs. This is the most budgetable part of our budget since we have to reserve it. But these were just some of the ideas that we had. There's a big outdoor mall in Phoenix that was really fun, and it's like free entry at the mall. The Grand Canyon is the $70 fee, but if we apply for that grant and get it, it would cover that and so much more. So also it's the Grand Canyon, so Lake Pleasant is a local really pretty if you look it up on Google Maps. And then there's just like other activities in Phoenix. We can look at places with different rates, but none of them really have state cancellation fees. Like I went through a ton of their recreation stuff. None of them have really big recreation fees, so this can be like really flexible. We really do want to go to Top Golf Park though, because there's not one locally and it would be really fun.
So total cost of everything, it's gonna be about $9,000, not including activities, cause that can just depend. That'll just be dictated by how much we can raise, and then we can just kinda decide what we wanna do. Yeah, so that's it. We also wanna give a big shout out to Jeff Burrows. He helped us figure out a lot of our planning and budgeting for this trip, so we just want to thank him for all that he did for this trip.
Are you going to the north or south? North or south rim of the Grand Canyon? Good. There's nothing left in the north.
Okay, do we have any questions? When would your trip be? I don't think I said dates.
It's on our airfare cost. It would be from April 19th to April 24th, giving 2 days for travel and 4 days at Phoenix to enjoy different activities there.
Does anyone else have any questions for the National Honor Society while they're here?
Thank you.
I
You
just
guys
have
will love the area.
Can I comment?
Desert Diamond's very nice.
It does not disappoint. So many things you hear about and you go and you think, this is even cooler than I had. Well, we're so excited. Very.
Okay, Dr. Fettinger has a question?
I just have a comment. I would just like to thank Tana Clammer for helping out with the National Honor Society. She's been helping from the beginning of the school year. We appreciate you.
Okay. Mrs. Clammer, when do you need to have a decision by? We don't have it on the agenda saying we're voting on it, so I wanna make sure we get it on there as a vote, so that people know that we're voting on it.
As soon as possible, so they know what they're fundraising and what they should be fundraising for. We're just trying to plan it.
No, perfect, I love it, okay. So I guess we'll put that on our next meeting, whether it's a regular meeting or a special meeting, whenever we meet next. Let's make sure that's on there so we can vote on it. Okay, and then if anyone has any questions about it before, then get a hold of Mrs. Clammer or any of your National Honor Society students and ask questions. That's pretty exciting. Okay, enrollment report. It's like maybe staring at screens.
Yep, it should be coming up, or maybe I gotta hit these buttons. Okay, there. Yeah, I did. This all made sense in my mind. You guys are facing that way and straight through.
That's okay, I got it in
You
front of
guys
me
have the
too. I
papers.
got it.
Yeah,
We guys
so-
see the screens, we got paper, we're all seeing the same thing.
So this will be quick. This is a quick little slides presentation, only 3 slides. I just thought I think it would be good for everybody here to be able to see this report. This is a report that I try to provide to the board members each month, and it really is just a breakdown of our current enrollment each month. And as the years have progressed here, especially the last probably 5 years, this report's gotten a lot more complicated. And for me, I'm the one putting these numbers in, so it all makes sense up here, but I know when you look at this, it took me a long time to kind of start to get a feel for what all of these numbers and everything means. So I just thought I'd go over this with you guys so that is hopefully a little more helpful. And then I just wanted to make sure there was a visual for folks in the audience to be able to see what I'm talking about when we're talking enrollment. So this is just a screenshot. I can't really manipulate around on that because it's done in Excel, and I did this on Google Slides. So probably the biggest differences that we're looking at here is if you were to get this enrollment report 5 years ago, these two columns right here would not have been there. And neither would the pre-K or PK up there at the top. And that has actually added, I mean, not a lot of complexity, but a little bit more in what this means, because it used to be pretty easy. You looked at it, you looked at the numbers there, and you knew approximately how many students were in the school. We get this much for A and B, boom, that's about how much our funding is. Now it's a little bit more connected with everything else. So I'm just gonna go down the column and explain each one of these, and then we'll go to the next slide and I'll talk a little bit about some of the new things. So if you look at this, and it doesn't look that good in this image, on Excel, you know, it puts it in that nice little column, so you can see it's this column right here goes to September, and this column here goes to October, and this one goes to November. Doesn't look as good on here, but we're just gonna focus on this far right column for now. And so at the very top, it just starts off with each grade level, right? So you can see 10 students in pre-K. That was the maximum students that we could enroll with one teacher in the classroom this year. So we have 10 for PK, kindergarten, 24 students for the month of November, first grade, 23, and so on, all the way down. Then you can compare that to last month and the month before if you would like. And I'm just gonna look at the November column for now. When you get down here to where it says total, that is just the total of that upper part of the column. So 219 students in the elementary as of when I ran this report, which would have been last week, Wednesday or Thursday. Okay, the next number right here, this is the enrollment that we had last year for the month of November. So when it said, you're looking at this 24-25, and you come over, 214 is what we had last year in the month of November. Then this third number is the calculation, which is the difference between this year and last year. So we've got 5 more students in the elementary for November this year than we did last year, which is great, but we also have to keep in mind we have pre-K. So it's good, and it's good, and of course you can look at the numbers and make your own conclusions a number of different ways. So then same thing for 7th and 8th grade. It's broken down by elementary, junior high, and high school. So here we have 7th grade 34, 8th grade 40 for a total of 74. Last year that was just 64, which means we have a difference of plus 10. So that's a really good number, probably of our 3 different schools. In our school we are, even though we're a K-12 district, according to the state of Montana OPI, we are 3 schools. We are an elementary, we are a junior high, and we are a high school. So we are funded as an elementary, a junior high, and a high school when they look at A and B numbers and what your counts are. So this number could be important for us. Hopefully in February, OPI will let us know, because if you do have a certain percent increase over the previous year, or your previous year's A and B count, your number count, you can get some additional funds. But that's yet to be seen. It sounds like Dr. Walsh, I know you contacted OPI, and some of those percentages have changed. We're just kind of waiting. It sounds like now they just will let us know.
They'll let us know, they're not looking into it, unfortunately. That's what you and I have been trying to get.
Yeah. So good numbers there. High school, same thing. You can see our 9 through 12 grades. Our total is 109. Last year we were at 119. So our high school is a little bit down. And then this bottom row, this bottom section here is what our K-12 total is. So right now, 402 students in the school. Last year we were at 397 at this time. So we're up 5 from last year.
And that 402 number doesn't include the pre-K.
That includes the pre-K,
Does it?
but does not include, we're gonna get to that, doesn't include these, the Harmony and the extracurricular kids. So, and that's what I'll talk about a little bit in the next slide. So far, those numbers make a little more sense. I know when you look at this, it's not an intuitive spreadsheet. It's intuitive to me to deal with it. It's not intuitive when you look at it.
So if I'm looking at like the high school numbers, it's not so much that we dropped a lot from each year, but maybe we had a little bit bigger of a senior class that left, that we didn't have a class that was about the same size that came in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we do see that, you know, in just looking at these trends, and this graphic that you're looking at is from a spreadsheet that Mr. Holland actually started in 2008, 2009, and so I can go back, all the way back to 2008, and, you know, run trend lines and look at graphs. And if you were to look at that, it's actually kind of interesting. You know, we always say our enrollment numbers are dropping, and the overall trend is they are dropping, but it's kind of like walking down a set of stairs with a yo-yo. You know, because there's like these huge peaks and valleys that we've seen. You know, COVID really boosted us, but then if you kind of get back to your baseline and just look at a trend line, it's a gradual downward trend. So yeah, that's a really good point. We have seen actually some pretty big fluctuations. I want to say 5 years ago, I think our enrollment was at, right now, we're at 402. I think 5 years ago we were at 457. So there isn't a fluctuation.
Does the pre-K get A and B money?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's a good point. I'll come to this next slide. So really, probably some of the biggest changes in our enrollment categories these last few years are, I guess you want to think about it like 4 different types. I call regular enrollment, that's like our brick and mortar, are here in the building taking classes in our school students. Our extracurricular enrollment that I have on here anyways, that is just our homeschool extracurricular enrollment. That's what I'm talking about when you see that on the next slide. Our Harmony enrollment, those are our students that are enrolled in Harmony. And those include students that are taking Harmony, but are also taking some in-class, brick and mortar classes here. So they land in that enrollment. The reason for that is because in our system, in our Infinite Campus system, which is our student management system, we have to designate where they're going to be. And the easiest way to do that was to build a whole new calendar called our Harmony School Calendar. If you're taking any Harmony class, you go in there. That specifically delineates them so that when we gotta run reports on how many students are taking Harmony, and how many classes are they taking, we can go to that calendar. It specifically just gives us that information. And then the last one here is the early learning enrollment or the pre-K. So those are really the big 4. And now I'll talk a little bit about some of how that A and B stuff ties in. Okay, so same graphic as the first slide. I just put it next to some of this information about those 4 categories. So our first category, again, remember, I call these the regular students. That just means the students that are here, that are taking classes in the school full-time. Most of our regular students are mostly full-time, which means 720 hours or more for the school year. If a student takes 7 periods a day, they meet that 720, they're actually above 720 by quite a bit. If a student were to take 4 periods and that's it, they would not be considered a full-time student, and then OPI has like a prorate. They prorate it, so you'll get like half of the amount of A&B funding that you would normally get. But for the most part, I would generalize that our regular students are full-time, and A&B funding for students. So per pupil, that's how it's designated in OPI, but basically per student. Elementary students, we receive $6,496. High school 7 through 12 students, $8,317. So that's your regular students. These are the homeschool extracurricular students. And as far as funding, we get, for every sport that they participate in, we get 1/16 A&B, so roughly $520. Remember, students can take up to 3 extracurriculars. They can actually do even more. they can actually be participate in more, but generally we have students that do 3. So that would be, one student could generate 520 plus 520 plus 520 for a school year, because they did 3 extracurricular.
Okay, so that's per extracurricular that they
Per
engage in.
extracurricular
Does that
participation.
include drama?
What's that? Drama does qualify for that, yes. Okay, so then, talking about the extracurricular students, when we come over here to this, that's this column right here, and you'll see that there's really none in the elementary. This is the first year we haven't had any in the junior high. But our high school has quite a few students, same thing, 2 in the 9th grade, 2 in the 10th grade, 0 in the 11th, 4 in the 12th, and then a total of 9. And that's currently where we stand now. Winter sports, we might have a couple more, and so then that number could change. And I don't have it broke down by month, it's just kind of my running total, it's what I keep track of for the year. So in, I guess if we don't have a board meeting in December, but in January, if you were to look at this report, it's just gonna be one column, and these numbers may be different because we may have a couple of wrestlers or basketball players. And so, the one thing about these numbers right here is this report used to be really easy to generate in Infinite Campus, and that's our student information system. But now, when I run our enrollment summary, it actually pulls all of our students in. So the paper that I can get printed off in Infinite Campus will tell me that there are, instead of 25, it'll say 25 plus 2 plus 2. It'll say there's 29 freshmen. So I have to figure out, okay, I know we have 2 students in Harmony. I know we have 2 students in extracurriculars, homeschool extracurriculars of that 29. So I need to subtract 4 from 29 to arrive at this number. So that's taken a little bit of time of me learning over the last year or 2 of how those numbers are connected. So same thing with our Harmony students. These are the students in what grade levels that are taking Harmony courses. All the way down, of course, there's the total, and then compared to last year, which those are all zeros because we didn't have Harmony last year. And then this is your grand total of students that are taking Harmony courses as of this time. Again, same thing, I subtract those from the enrollment numbers that the report actually spits out so that you can see the actual numbers of regular students, actual number of Harmony students, and actual number of extracurricular students.
Where do the Harmony students who take full-time homeschool fit into this?
Full-time?
Yeah.
That's these students. It's just that there's a couple that are hybrids, they're both. If you take any Harmony course, even if you take one
Whatsoever.
Harmony course and 6 brick and mortar courses from here, you fall into this column.
So it includes kids that are full-time homeschool.
Yep, it does.
All of them are.
Yeah, for the most part, I would say the large majority of our Harmony students are full-time. And so, full-times, if they're full-time status, we are receiving full-time A and B for them. So then, we should receive full-time A and B for them. We are, of course, being charged a fee by Harmony, about $2,800 for K-6 students, or $2,900 per student is paid to Harmony. So, say a full-time high school student charged $3,000, so we're roughly, you can think of it as about $5,000 for a full-time high school student if they're taking all Harmony courses. Okay, to answer your question from earlier, the last one, the pre-K students, right now, we are offering a half-time pre-K. So because of that, we receive half A and B funding for our students, so that's half of the elementary funding, yes. So again, even though this over here, you see, okay, we've got 402 students, great, that's 402 full-time students. The only thing where you have to keep in mind is 10 of those students are actually not full-time A and B students. So again, this report has gotten much more complex and complicated as far as, you can't just look at the number and go, oh, that's what we got, that's what we're gonna, we can estimate that's about what we're gonna get for our A and B funding points, because there's this, and so hopefully that clears up any confusion or thoughts that you guys may have had. Does anybody have any other questions?
No? That's good stuff.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Meredith? Okay, consideration and possible action to approve the new building and entry procedures. This was given to us last month, it's in our packet again. Mr. Eden, would you like to tell us a little bit about the procedures? And I know I hate this, but you gotta come up here and state your name, cause they're recording you on the phone. And it's gonna have a microphone so we can really hear you.
Okay, my name is Rob Keane. I am an officer with the Plains Police Department. I had no idea that I was going to be standing up here saying anything this evening, so I'll just make this quick and simple. So I was approached by administration to help draft some ideas on the entry procedures coming into the school with the addition of the locked doors here at the front. Ultimately, the goal is to funnel all entry into the school past these doors. At any given point of the day, unfortunately at this time, there's probably about 4 entry points to the school, which from a security standpoint, which nobody likes to hear that word, obviously, but given the temperature of today's society, we all know what's capable in the world, and we just hope that and pray that it doesn't happen in our school. But with that many entry points to the school, security is impossible. At any time, an individual, even anybody, could walk through an open door and be in the hallways, walking freely throughout the school, which is not ideal. It's not secure, it's not safe. Therefore, we are working diligently to secure the school at all entry points and funnel everybody through the front door. So these procedures are, it is just a draft, and this is just an idea, obviously, but this is, what it's going to do is it's going to help monitor the flow of individuals, either staff members, parents, students. There won't be anybody making it inside the school that doesn't come through these doors, and therefore we know who's in the school at any given time. Right now, without a program in place, somebody can walk through the door, be in the school. So that's what these procedures are for, is to monitor that. They'll help staff know who's in the school at all times, and prevent anybody from cruising the hallways without notice. So, yeah, that's kind of, that's where this was born, and that's where we're going.
And just to say, the second phase is the other side.
Yeah,
I
so,
don't wanna forget that either.
yep, so, obviously the door that exits the school by the band room goes to the shop class and upstairs. That's open and unsecure at this time, so we have talked about a couple phases on how to secure that, starting obviously with hopefully a fence system, then eventually maybe an enclosed structure that actually secures it completely. And then that would take care of that entry point.
Russell, do you wanna comment on the gate part and what that will do at that side of the building?
Yeah, so we covered that section a little bit, like you said, you can exit by the band room, and then you're out in the parking lot for a while before you make the entrance to the shop classroom. So, the plan is to fence off a whole section of the parking lot there, and we'll have a push bar for emergency exits, but that way, at least during the day, the students are within a locked gate when they exit the building during that short period of time.
Anyone on the school board have any questions for Officer Enan, or maintenance, or Dr. Walsh about this entry procedure document? Anyone in the community have questions? Okay, Gina, if you come up to the podium, state your name, all the fun things, so people come can hear you.
Hello, I'm Gina Ferlin. I teach in elementary, and I appreciate you taking the time to work on that draft. Just have a few questions. The biggest one is, I love that they'd come through and get the name tags on it, and it's fabulous, but it said that there would be a person walking them to the location. I was wondering who that would be.
So, yeah, we've talked about, posting somebody, a para, or someone we wouldn't be asking students to walk adults throughout the school. It would be a staff member of some sort, and that would be logistics that have to be put together, once the procedures are put in place.
Well, I have two questions along with that. Sometimes we have, special ed meetings that go after school, and we are here like after the office staff is gone. Will we have something in place so that people get back their driver's licenses after we keep them here until, 5 or 6 p.m. well after Catherine needs to be here? Just those, things like that. We have a lot of meetings after school, parents come in, we have a lot of volunteers that are here for, they come and read for an hour, we pick them up, take them in there. It just seems like a lot of extra people. I'm just worried about that part. I love the check-in part, I love the name tags, I have nothing against that part. There's a few logistical things, like anyone who's on the floor running, sometimes we don't have enough people to cover our full-time job as it is, so I don't know. I personally, as an elementary special ed teacher, I cannot give up a single paraprofessional to escort people throughout the day. We sometimes don't have enough paraprofessionals to cover the small groups pullouts because we don't have any subs. So when there's no sub, those kids stay in the classroom. So I'm just logistically, I'm not against the plan, I appreciate the time, I'm not trying to be the Debbie Downer or whatever, just logistical things.
So obviously, this is a ever-growing, procedure, so we're gonna try things that aren't gonna work.
Right.
And then we're gonna reevaluate and redesign the program and do it differently because it works better. Obviously, ultimate goal is to create safety for the students. After school, once students are out of the school, the procedures are gonna look a little bit different for coming and going as far as people coming in and out of the school after the students have left campus. Obviously something that we can address at that point. As far as, like I said, this is on paper now, and now we have to start to put together the parts that actually work for it.
Okay, so it's a moving, flexible.
Yeah, it's.
And it won't, if I may, it won't be burdening the teachers in any way. We talked about it in our office. Who's ever available, someone will have to be sitting and waiting till they come to get someone to escort them if they wanna see you. As far as the afternoon meetings, we'll make accommodations for that. Again, this is just something new that we all have to adapt to. So very conscious of those things, but and that helps because you do have a good schedule to get ahead of time the IEPs, who's coming in, who we can be there, and someone will be there to help in that manner.
Okay, alright, thank you.
Yes, come on up.
Erica, lawyer, and I was just, maybe you guys have adjusted event times at the gym, but maybe you're gonna lock the fire door, but then you lock off bathrooms during 1 and 3 o'clock JV games or whatever, and how you were gonna handle that. Cause I've been to schools where they have this, and then you're in this whole maze and this myriad trying to find the gym, and I was just wondering if there was that part of it that was kind of addressed in here when you've got volleyball and basketball and wrestling and super senior prom and whatever else you've got, where are they gonna come through here and walk through the hallway to get to those JV games, or are they still gonna get tickets there, and how that's all gonna work logistically? I was just curious.
We're supposed to have the fire door closed during basketball and volleyball games if it's during the school day anyways.
Okay.
We don't, and then that lobby door would be open, so.
I never paid attention, so.
The high schoolers will use the bathroom, they'll just have to go to the other end.
Just use it.
Questions, anybody else? We like community involvement.
Thank you, Otisabina, and again, welcome to our school on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. You're a welcome face and a friendly face, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so I know you said that this is kind of a draft. We have it before us as something to vote on, as putting this into practice. Does this feel like it's something you're ready to put into practice that you want us to vote on?
Yes, on December 1st, we should have the locks and the buzzers, and that's how it will work. We're just waiting for the buzzers to come in so that Catherine or who's ever there won't have to get up and walk around all the time. They'll be, met at the window, they'll sign in, they'll sit and wait for someone to come and escort them to where they're going. If parents wanna bring cupcakes and do all those great things that they do, they leave them there anyway. Many times they leave them at the main and someone will deliver them to the classrooms.
So here's my question. If we were to pass this tonight, right, we vote for it, and we find a piece of it isn't working, then the board has to get back together to vote on adaptations unless we have something in here that we're passing that says you guys can make day-to-day adaptations as needed if this doesn't work. So how would you like us to do that? Or what would that look like? Cause I'm a little concerned if we do pass this and for some reason you need to make a change,
Well, I
this
think
kinda locks you in.
Given the concerns that were mentioned, you know, it would be important to have a statement there perhaps that says,
Maybe we table this until the next session. Or do you wanna, can we?
well, if we table it, then we don't start in December, we'll start in January.
I'm curious
Just
if,
to say,
if the motion just says we approve of this with the caveat that administration, in conjunction with the Plains Police Department, can make
any necessary
adaptations as needed.
for the good of, for the good of the.
I mean,
for the good of the
That
school.
sounds reasonable.
legal,
And
but-
what if we don't absolutely don't agree with it though?
Well, then you vote no, obviously, but
No,
if
but I
we-
mean, if there's something new that we didn't vote for.
if we put it in the motion and we give them permission to make adaptations, then that literally then falls on them. We wouldn't get to say no.
Well, then we're talking about special.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, other than servicing the teachers and the people and asking them, you know, how we get back and forth and move in and out, the rest of it is really not anything that would change too much. Would you agree?
Yeah, this procedure set up here is
Standard.
pretty standard as far as controlled entry to the building. What we're gonna have to tweak is, like was mentioned, who can we use to escort? Who's available at this time?
And it's up.
Obviously, I'm inside the school from 1 o'clock until school's let out, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm available to escort anybody who needs, walking through the school, so, there's gonna be some movements there in how we handle that portion of it, but the rest of the procedures are pretty well.
And or what it looks like after school, right?
After
So just
school.
after school, it's gonna change a little bit.
Well, maybe we
And it
can-
is mentioned in there that visitation to the school is by appointment or pre-authorized by administration, so really we shouldn't, there shouldn't be a lot of surprise, I need to go walk through the school. It should be pretty well contained.
I have a question.
Yes, please
Jenny.
come on up.
No, just real quick, with that,
Can you state your name so the people
sure,
at home can hear you?
Samantha Beth, I'm a substitute teacher and volunteer. I was just wondering if that would still apply to people who have done the whole fingerprinting throughout the school. Like say, there's a lot of people in PTA, there's a lot of district health members and other community members that have gone through that process. They might be available to help with that, and I'm wondering, if they would also need to go through those same procedures, or if they would be allowed to help even escort at times.
Like if they were pre-approved and planned to come and do escorting as like a volunteer position?
Right, and if when they came to volunteer, they'd have to do that same procedure.
So we've had a discussion with the guidance counselor on, military folks who come, and they come every month, and it's regularly scheduled, and the guidance counselor said, I will come and escort them to where they have to go, and then we leave them there, because they have been vetted, and
Okay.
have been approved.
So I was just wondering, because they've been fingerprinted, they've been approved by the board in most cases as school district volunteers, if the escort
Might make it
team would be still needed for them or not. So it's just a question, I know
Like
it's
if we
still a
had like a
draft form.
sub list, only this is our escort list?
Right.
Or are you saying it, should the person who's already been vetted, would you need to be
Do they have
escorted
to-
someplace?
Yeah.
Correct, that's more of what I'm
That's the
saying.
question, and I think part of that conversation was one that we've had about, you know, who is the person, what is the situation in which they're visiting the school? You know, how does that change the demeanor, how does that change the interaction at the time? You know, if you're coming in, you're very upset, or you're very troubled, and you're mad at a teacher, a student, a parent, a superintendent, you know, how do we safeguard against those things?
Right.
So I
And-
mean, we've had those discussions.
Well, when they come, it's normally for a much different reason than a teacher conference or
Right.
IEP or something like that. So that's why I was just asking and maybe put it into consideration as the
Absolutely.
draft is formalized. So,
Okay, thank you. I think I would like to shore up the part on the, Mrs. Bev said, Mrs. Crone said, I think we should reframe that, advertise it a little bit more. I mean, 95% of this is not gonna change, but let's put that last
Yeah.
piece and make it tighter, we can do that.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to table this while they shore that up until we vote on it.
So we're talking about 2 more months?
No, I'm gonna guess we'll have a special meeting. They're just gonna have to shore it up, we'll give a couple days' notice. We don't need to wait 2 months to input this, we just wanna make sure that they have what we need to vote and be ready for it. Yeah. Okay, consideration and possible action to call for a trustee election in 2026. I would entertain a motion.
I move we call for a trustee election in 2026.
I'll second.
Any comments about the election?
Yes. Robert?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Consideration and possible action to approve the Sanders County, to conduct the 2026 election by mail. Would entertain a motion?
I move we conduct the trustee election in 2026 by mail.
I'll second.
And that is with Sanders County doing it, right, the county, not the school?
Yes.
Sanders County.
Perfect.
Sanders County.
Okay, any comments about this agenda item? Okay.
Colleen?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Consideration and possible action to cancel the December regular board meeting. I would entertain a motion on that.
A motion to cancel the December 2025 board meeting.
Second. Any questions or comments on this agenda item?
Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Okay. Personnel, okay, so we've been distributed our superintendent evaluation forms. Please complete these. I would like them returned either to myself or to the business office, have them sealed, closed by December 19th. It is a half a day of school here, so make sure it's in here the first half of the day.
The 19th?
The 19th of December, yep. So anytime before that, you can give it to me directly or to the business office, just make sure it's in a sealed envelope. And those are very private.
And what's the timing of the actual assessment?
We do the evaluation at our January meeting, we go into closed session, and I will have already compiled all of the things and give her a synopsis of it, and then we evaluate her at that time. Consideration for approval. Erica Lawyers, volunteer assistant girls basketball coach. I would entertain a motion.
A motion that, we approve Erica Lawyer as a volunteer assistant girls basketball coach.
I'll second.
Perfect. Any comments on this agenda item?
Robert?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Okay, Nicole Burrows as prom advisor. I would entertain a motion.
Move we approve Nicole Burrows as prom advisor.
I'll second.
Any comments on this agenda item?
Colleen?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Okay, Angela Altizer, thank you, as a paraprofessional, I would entertain a motion on this.
Move we approve Angela Altizer as a paraprofessional.
I'll second.
Any comments on this agenda item?
Colleen?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Okay, Abigail Collette as a substitute nurse, I would entertain a motion.
A motion, that we approve Abigail Collette as a substitute nurse.
Second.
Any comments on this agenda item?
Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so now we're going to do public participation on non-agenda items. Again, we're gonna keep it to 3 minutes. I'm sorry I don't have a clock, but I will go by this. We'll keep it fair across the board. The board cannot talk back to you. We're not trying to be rude, just we'll write information down. It will be lovely. Don't talk about specific people, their positions, or their job performance. That would be great. And nothing about personal things at all. If it feels personal, I'm going to stop you. Okay. And we have public comments.
I have one.
Come on up. Hold on, Mr. Nelson was first.
You go.
Mine's quick.
State your name for the people at home.
Ken Nelson.
Thank you,
fun. I work for you. My comment is related to the legal statement at the beginning. Obviously, I was at last week's board meeting, which is the first time it was read. And you might remember that some 10 minutes later, you personally thanked me for continuing to run student council off the books. So my concern here is when I brought that to you and you got it done, and my understanding is Mr. Cutliff as well, that's because I had written the administration about this in September, and I was told in writing that it's not their job and that I should go and contact the clerk and recorder myself. As fun as it would be to start hiring myself for things, I realized obviously that can't happen. Nor could I continue to spend your money without formal approval. So I came to you, and you guys both got it done last week, and I went ahead and got student council going through homecoming. If the statement is going to be true, then it has to be true. And in that instance, it would mean that I potentially could still be sitting here and Terry without contracts. And that's concerning.
Yes, I would thank you for emailing. You emailed us and administration together, and administration moved it forward. We were just happy to have it on our agenda. So thank you for that.
Oh, cool, so we can respond?
Who can respond?
The board can respond
When?
to questions and public agenda items?
No, I was just thanking you
Oh, okay.
for that went through administration.
All right,
So make sure
so
you do
that was really convenient back when we could do that. Just super quick out of that, just because I don't know if I've ever told you guys, the total, because of the generosity of McGowan's, the total for student council to operate homecoming came to just under $500 this year. Had we not gotten the donations, it would have been $6 to maybe $625. Would have been our overall totals. It does my heart super glad to hear that we're moving forward with skills, but I thought it was still a tabled agenda item, unless I missed a board meeting, and I didn't think I missed any board meetings. So, thank you.
Thank you. Betty Taylor.
Okay. Betty Taylor, and I just want to revisit, in January of 2025, I brought up the concern about the breach of contract because the classes had not been taken or completed, and I just want to follow up with that. Hopefully 10 months later, they have been completed, but if they have not, I want you to think about that, board members, to adequately reflect that in her performance appraisal, so that legally, you aren't remiss. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else, public comment?
I appreciate the spreadsheet you showed us with all the numbers, Mr. Meredith. That was really nice, and I know that I'm proud of the lunch program. We're getting more money, so nice job, lunchroom. And this was, I just want to clarify, this is telling me nothing brought to me by the fourth grade teacher, but fourth grade has 29 students in one room, and Beth Meaden is just doing an amazing job by herself. As we know, there used to be 2 teachers for every grade all the way through, and last year one of our highest paid teachers resigned. So I thought, yay, that'll free up some money. And we also have not hired an elementary music teacher, so there's some money that I think we budgeted for that we have not, we're not filling the position because no one applied, unfortunately. And in the end of the semester, Ginny Lovell will no longer be doing the high school part-time position. Unfortunately, that's also sad. So I'm hoping that we will fill the K-12 music program position. I'm still hoping for that. That's like the dream. But if we don't, I'm just wondering, those funds, I'm assuming we budgeted for them last year. I think that's how it works, but maybe I'm misinformed. I just thought maybe going into the second semester, if those positions are not filled, maybe we could reallocate the monies to at least get a half-time fourth grade teacher. I just think that'd be really nice for those fourth grade students. They're the only group who don't have two teachers. Like I said, Beth is doing amazing. I applaud her. She does such a great job. Mr. Meredith has done a great job of working Paris through there to help fill needs, but it would just be really great to have two teachers with that group. So that's just my 2 cents, and thank you.
Any public comment? Okay. Thank you, and we will adjourn at 8:25.
I hope you like my notes.